There's a way to make soap that costs absolutely nothing. No store, no chemicals, and people have been using it for over 5,000 years. The strange part is that the raw material you need is probably already sitting in your house right now, unnoticed, ignored, maybe even thrown away without a second thought. If everything stopped tomorrow, you wouldn't run out of food first, and you wouldn't run out of water. You would run out of something much simpler: soap. And that's when things start to change. Because without it, small cuts don't stay small. Dirt builds up in ways that matter. Bacteria spreads faster than people expect. And in a real crisis, that's not uncomfortable, that's dangerous. For most of human history, this was never a problem. People didn't go to a store to buy soap. They made it themselves. The Vikings used it, the Romans used it. Even earlier civilizations understood how to turn basic materials into something that kept them clean, and more importantly, kept them alive. They didn't do it because it was trendy or natural. They did it because it worked, and because it was always available. The method hasn't changed. The only thing that changed is the world around it. We replaced something simple, reliable, and always within reach with something manufactured, packaged, and dependent on systems we don't control. It all starts with something most people throw away: ash, the gray powder left behind after a fire burns out. It looks useless. It feels like waste. But when water passes through it, something happens that most people have never noticed. The water pulls out compounds from the ash, turning it into an alkaline liquid. It doesn't look like much, slightly dark, maybe cloudy. But it has a strange property. It breaks down fat, it cuts through grease, it changes the way substances behave when they touch each other. And that is where soap begins. You take hardwood ash, not charcoal, not half-burned wood, but fine, pale ash from a complete burn. The cleaner and lighter it is, the better. You place it into a container and slowly pour water through it, not rushing, not flooding it, just letting gravity do the work. What comes out the other side is a liquid that looks simple but carries a very specific function. This liquid is called lye. And this is the part where things stop being theoretical and start becoming real. Because when lye meets fat, something fundamental happens at a molecular level. The fat breaks apart and then reforms into something new, something stable, something that can bind with water and lift away dirt. That process is what we call soap. But here's where most people misunderstand what they're actually making. They expect something clean and perfect, like a bar from a store. Smooth edges, solid shape, something that looks finished. That's not what this produces. What you get is something much simpler, a soft paste, rough in texture, unpolished, but effective in a way that matters more than appearance. This is what people used for thousands of years. This is what worked long before factories existed. And in many cases, it still works better than the things people rely on today because it hasn't been stripped, processed, or altered beyond recognition. This isn't about saving money, even though it costs nothing. It's about removing dependency. Because when systems fail, when stores close, when supply chains break and nothing moves the way it used to, you don't lose comfort first. You lose access. And most people don't realize how much they depend on that access until it's gone. Knowing how to create something this basic, something this essential, changes the equation. It gives you control over something that most people assume will always be there. The difference between people who struggle and people who adapt in difficult situations often comes down to one thing: not strength, not intelligence, but preparation. Most people wait. They assume things will keep working the way they always have. They assume they'll have time to figure things out when the moment comes. But the people who adapt don't wait for the situation to force them to learn. They already know what to do before they need to do it. And that's what separates reaction from control. This method didn't disappear because it stopped working. It disappeared because people stopped needing it, or at least they believed they did. It was replaced by convenience, by mass production, by the idea that everything should be bought instead of understood. But the ash is still there. The process still works exactly the same way it always did. Nothing about it has changed. The only difference is whether or not you know how to use it. Because when everything else fails, when systems stop, when the things people depend on every day suddenly aren't there anymore, it's not the complex solutions that last. It's the simple ones. The ones that don't rely on anything outside of what you already have. The ones that have already been tested. Not for years, but for thousands of them. And in the end, the people who make it through aren't the ones with the most resources. They're the ones who understand the value of what was always there. When everything else fails, the simplest things are the ones that last.